Good evening, I'm Jason Vio. Katerina is away. Thanks for watching CBC Windsor News at 6. Our top story tonight, immigration processes in Canada can be complicated, but a Canadian man trying to get a visitor visa for his wife didn't expect an illegal operation to take his money and run. The CBC Windsor's Pratush Dayal looks at what's known as ghost consultancies.
A multinational immigration company or a ghost consultancy. With Canada GMC, it's apparently both. CBC spoke with victims who say they were defrauded by this company handling the immigration paperwork. Krishan Jogia spent $12,000 on Canada GMC for a visa for his wife, and it took months before they realized that they were dealing with a consultancy apparently operating illegally in Canada, with unlicensed individuals acting as licensed consultants, what's known as a ghost consultancy. They've tried all avenues to seek a refund and justice, but all in vain.
It's disappointing. It doesn't even sum it up, right? Yeah, surprising how unregulated the industry is.
Yeah.
And just the lack of desire to do anything about it as well.
This New York State resident is also out $7,600 trying to get permanent residency in Canada.
I was so excited about Canada. Then after this whole experience and I hate to say this, but knowing that a country is allowing a business like this to operate and there's no ramifications for it, that gives me such a bad taste.
Canada GMC isn't alone in operating without proper paperwork. Across from the Gordie Howe International Bridge, in the trucking parking lot behind me, in an unmarked building, operates HNS Immigration. Neither the business nor the consultants mentioned on its website appear on the public registry of those who are licensed to provide immigration services. And both the consultancies did not respond to multiple CBC requests. In Canada, to become a licensed consultant, you have to meet the requirements set by the regulatory body, the College of Immigration and Citizenship Consultants. And to get their license, they have to complete an exam and a post-secondary program. All licensed consultants can be searched in the college's online register. Of the total 12,000 licensed consultants in Canada, almost half are based in Ontario, with the majority in the Greater Toronto area.
It is a rising problem.
At this licensed consultancy, they see the impact bad actors have had on their clients, saying many have been approached or defrauded by unlicensed consultants in the past. Zarif says often it's recent newcomers who aren't aware of the legal systems who fall prey to fraudulent consultants, from illegally selling job offers to helping bypass immigration requirements. They say ghost consultants provide false promises, but the problem lies in accountability.
It's not only scrutiny, it's not about making rules, right? It's about accountability, right? So are we holding ghost consultants or anybody who takes advantage of anybody vulnerable in Canada, are we holding them accountable?
At Legal Assistance of Windsor, their executive director advises newcomers to ask for references and get second opinions on consultants.
It's hard to do because very often these recruiters and exploited people will also make people feel bad for asking questions, for questioning their authority. And so that should also be a red flag for you.
The college says it has received almost 700 reports of these ghost consultants so far, and almost half of those are still being reviewed. But they say they cannot hold these ghost consultants accountable for their actions, and oftentimes the last recourse is to approach the police or get a lawyer. Pratush Dayal, CBC News, Windsor.
There's a new homelessness addiction recovery treatment hub set to open in Windsor in the very near future. How soon? Well, that's up for debate. The CBC's Jennifer LaGrassa explains.
In less than 2 weeks, Windsor Essex is supposed to get new addiction treatment services, but it's unclear whether they'll actually be ready. In January, the province announced a heart hub for the region. It stands for Homelessness Addiction Recovery Treatment. Funding for this includes more treatment beds, transitional housing, and post-detox beds for people who are getting ready to go into treatment. While it's called a hub, for now, services in Windsor Essex will be spread across existing organizations. The province has stated that these services will be available as of April 1st, but that firmness hasn't been matched by Hotel du Grace Healthcare, one of the lead organizations on this project. A spokesperson for the hospital said in an email, with the timing of the announcement and the election, there hasn't been much movement. But they said they've received a funding confirmation letter, which they can't yet discuss the details of, and that planning is ongoing. Windsor's hub is one of 27 across the province, and at least one of them in Guelph has reported delays in getting started. These services are part of the government's shift away from harm reduction and towards treatment. On Ontario's website, it says that the main goal of Windsor's hub is to divert repeated or inappropriate visits to the emergency department by giving people access to more immediate help. Jennifer LaGrassa, CBC News, Windsor.
And Colette Kennedy joins us live for another look at weather tonight. Colette, another gorgeous day.
Yeah, when you have conditions like this, you know, we just want to kind of linger looking at some of the readings. I mean, this is this morning, starting things off at 6 a.m. We were already at 14 degrees in Windsor. Not too hard then, with some sunshine in there and that breeze out of the southwest to take it to 21 degrees. And you'll notice a little further east, Hamilton, 21 degrees there as well. But things are changing, a new pattern moving in, as is spring. 8 degrees overnight tonight with some of these rain showers pushing through. Still a few showers tomorrow, and that temperature will be falling and the winds getting strong. More on this coming up.
All right, thanks so much, Colette.
You're welcome.
After an internal investigation substantiated claims that Windsor's police chief made racist comments at work, a provincial group representing police unions is pointing to an apparent failure of the Windsor Police Services Board in its handling of the issue. Earlier this week, CBC News exclusively published information based on a summary of an internal investigation into racism complaints against Windsor Police Chief Jason Belair. It substantiated Belair's comments but didn't specify what he said. When asked to confirm that the allegations were substantiated, a Windsor police spokesperson said that message was not entirely accurate. However, they refused to clarify what they meant. We know, though, through an ongoing Human Rights Tribunal of Ontario process, Inspector Ed Armstrong accused Belair of saying several racially derogatory remarks to him. Police Association of Ontario President Mark Baxter tells CBC News that he condemns those racist comments and adds that this behavior erodes public trust and undermines the integrity of policing. Baxter went on to say that people in Windsor deserve to know what the chief of police, the head of the police service, that he's being held to the highest standard and is not discriminating against his service members and is serving all people equitably. He went on to say, equally concerning is the apparent failure of the Windsor Police Services Board to take swift and decisive action in holding the chief accountable. Now, the Windsor Police Services Board says it won't be commenting on personnel matters of a specific employee. That means we don't know what consequences, if any, Belair will face for his actions. Both Armstrong and Belair didn't respond to our requests for a comment. U.S. President Donald Trump now says he would prefer to deal with a liberal leader rather than a conservative one following the upcoming federal election. The question is, why? Karina Roman looks at the possible answers.
U.S. President Donald Trump told Fox News that Canada's conservative leader, Pierre Poilievre, is no friend of his, and in fact, he thinks it would be easier to deal with a liberal. Fox host Laura Ingraham had suggested to Trump that the Liberals in Canada were now more likely to win a Canadian election, and asked Trump, wouldn't that mean Canada will be more hostile to the U.S.?
The Conservative that's running is stupidly no friend of mine. I don't know him, but he said negative things. So when he says negative things, I couldn't care less. I think it's easier to deal, actually, with a Liberal. And maybe they're going to win, but I don't really care. It doesn't matter to me at all.
This comes on the heels of Trump saying a couple of weeks ago that Poilievre was not a MAGA guy, even though one of Poilievre's MPs is good friends with Vice President J.D. Vance. Poilievre responded by agreeing he is not a MAGA guy, and today he agreed again with Trump's latest comments.
Yesterday, the president said that having a Liberal prime minister would be easier for him to deal with, just as he threatened once again to make us the 51st state. And you know what? On that point, it's true. I'm a strong leader. I'm a tough guy to deal with. I'm firm in my convictions, and I'll always put Canada first.
For weeks, the Liberals have been saying that Poilievre likes Trump, admires Trump, that his very words echo those of Trump. The Liberals released ads showing the two side by side saying very similar things. Such a framing is a problem for the Conservatives as Canada heads into a federal election campaign soon, in which who can best stand up to Trump will be a key factor. So, if voters take Trump at his word, they are not on the same page. A more cynical voter might see this, however, as Trump trying to help Poilievre by distancing himself. Karina Roman, CBC News, Ottawa.
And the growing boycott of American-made goods isn't only taking off here in Canada. People across the globe are refusing to buy American products and canceling travel plans to the States. And it's not just U.S.-imposed tariffs driving the movement. Nicole Williams reports.
Here in Ottawa and across the country, the Buy Canadian movement is alive and well.
Hello, welcome.
With an ongoing trade war with the U.S. and President Donald Trump's threats to make Canada the 51st state,
we're looking for ways that we can fight back or at least defend ourselves. And I think economically, buying Canadian makes perfect sense.
But shoppers here say it's a bit more specific than that.
Anything that says made in Canada or anywhere else in the world, just try and avoid things that are made in America.
Turns out Canadians are not alone, from cutting back DEI initiatives to blaming the Ukrainian president for the war that Russia started. People around the world have their own reasons to turn their backs on the Trump administration. This world-renowned violinist canceled his American tour dates scheduled this summer.
I'm hurting myself with not being able to play those wonderful halls and orchestras and meeting all my friends in America. But I needed, for my own sake, a decision where I wouldn't feel wrong in what I'm doing.
In Sweden, this Facebook group dedicated to boycotting U.S. products has tens of thousands of members in just a few months.
I tried because I saw something and I didn't like it, and I tried. And that's how we in the group see ourselves.
This European grocery chain marking goods made on the continent with a black star to help customers at the checkout counter. But it's becoming bigger than produce. A recent report from Tourism Economics forecasts a dramatic drop in visits to the U.S. this year, meaning tourism spending could fall by $18 billion. But does all this mean much to the Trump administration? This economist isn't so sure.
If you think that it's going to actually do something, you're sorely mistaken. The U.S. economy is about $30 trillion per year, give or take.
Even still, the people I spoke to say it is the principle of the matter. As long as the Trump administration continues on the path that it's on, they say it is critical that they spend their dollar elsewhere. Nicole Williams, CBC News, Ottawa.
If you're hoping to participate in this fall's Detroit Marathon, you may have run out of time. The popular Detroit event is something Canadians aren't boycotting. Producer Dial is back with us in his running gear and has this report.
For many local runners, participating in the Detroit Marathon is a must. But if they haven't signed up yet, they are probably out of luck. 4 of the races that are part of the Detroit Free Press Marathon are sold out, including the popular International Half Marathon.
I am very, very shocked.
This runner missed out on the tickets for the second year in a row.
The fact that they are sold out in March, we're in March at this point, it's still months away before the actual event happening. They're sold out. It's a testament to where running has come, the boom that's been created.
McCammon says the running community is growing in Windsor, Essex, and while tariff threats have impacted cross-border visits, Canadians are still signing up for the marathon at the same rate as previous years at 10% overall participation. McCammon says it's a tribute to how sports can bring people together.
There's still unity in running. There's still unity in fitness and chasing that goal that really no matter who you are, what your background, national, whatever, it's still a goal that should be celebrated regardless of where you're at geographically.
One of the last ones to get in.
David St. Germain will be running in the International Half Marathon. He says he has been running for the last 13 years and has already ran once in Detroit. Germain says no border can stop the running community.
I've met so many people from Detroit that introduced me to their running community. It's amazing. And over the last couple of years, again, like we go over there to run with them, they come over here to run with us, and it's new. and it's fun and it's exciting.
Detroit Marathon hosts a number of different races and some are still available. And for those, Germain encourages people to sign up to the waitlists. If you have missed out on signing up for the Detroit Marathon, there's another opportunity this fall to run against the Detroit skyline, but on our side of the border. For the first time, Windsor will host its new half marathon set to take place on September 15th. Pratish Dayal, CBC News, Windsor.
And there's more news coming up right here on CBC Windsor right after the break. Stay with us. In overseas news, Israel's military says it is retaking a key corridor that divides Gaza's north and south. It's another sign of an end to its 2-month-old ceasefire with Hamas. Tuesday marked the deadliest day in the 17-month war with more than 400 dead. Now, a second day of Israeli bombardments may have also struck a UN site in the territory. Crystal Gomansing reports.
Please, let us go. A United Nations compound and safe house in Deir al-Balah in central Gaza was hit. In that strike, officials say one United Nations worker was killed and several more were wounded.
It is also understood that there are at least 5 additional casualties, several of whom are very severely injured. What we do know is that an explosive ordnance was dropped or fired at infrastructure and detonated inside the building. We don't know at this stage what type it was.
They are not specifically saying that the strike was the result of an airstrike by Israel. In fact, Israel Defense Forces earlier in the day say that they did not strike the UN compound in Deir al-Balah. So we're waiting to see if any more details will emerge. However, what we are hearing from Israel's defense minister is a warning, saying that people in Gaza will be given instructions shortly to move out of potential combat zones and go to areas of safety. They're also issuing a notice to Hamas, telling them to immediately release all of the hostages and leave Gaza. The quote from Defense Minister Katz was, "Israel will operate with strength you have yet to see." So a situation that continues to unfold in Gaza as Israel's defense minister said they will not only continue with airstrikes but prepare for a ground operation if required. Crystal Gamansing, CBC News, Jerusalem.
And that shattered ceasefire brought out about 60 pro-Palestinian demonstrators here in Windsor. They marched along Huron Church holding signs and flags. They want Israel to immediately adhere to a ceasefire and open borders for humanitarian aid so it can reach those in need. And police in Turkey have arrested Istanbul's popular mayor along with several other prominent figures. Authorities say it's part of an investigation into alleged corruption and terror links, but critics say it's the Erdogan government cracking down on dissenting voices in that country. Chris Brown reports.
The arrest of Istanbul's popular mayor sent supporters into the streets, triggering clashes with riot police and fueling fears about the country's further slide into authoritarianism. It's a coup, said this protester, a coup against democracy. As the twice-elected mayor of Istanbul, Ekrem İmamoğlu was perhaps the second most powerful figure in the country and the main political rival to President Tayyip Erdogan. Authorities detained him, alleging corruption and ties to terrorism, just days before he was expected to be selected to lead his party against Erdogan in the next presidential vote.
Üzülerek söylüyorum.
Just before his arrest, İmamoğlu posted a video message accusing his opponents of using the police as a tool for evil and vowing not to give up. Erdogan has dominated Turkish politics for decades, first as prime minister and then as president. While the constitution doesn't permit him running for a third presidential term, he could get around that by triggering an early vote. And opponents say removing the popular İmamoğlu could be part of the plan. If that's the case, it's a massive gamble. Politically, Turkey has scored some big wins of late, including helping the opposition in Syria push out the Assad regime. Those successes could now be at risk, says this analyst.
So with this, the whole political, economic, and then the foreign policy picture has been poisoned. Societal discontent, the societal backlash will probably be very significant, will probably be huge.
Protests have been banned, although Wednesday night thousands of people came out anyway. Erdogan's officials meanwhile deny anything improper. They claim İmamoğlu's arrest had nothing to do with the president. Chris Brown, CBC News, London.
Still to come here on CBC Windsor News, Colette Kennedy joins us live right after the break for your full look at weather. As promised, Colette Kennedy joins us live now for a full look at weather. Colette, I've really been enjoying this weather. Shorts, flip-flops even. I mean, it's all out.
As long as you didn't put everything else away as you took that out. This is that.
I see something falling behind you, and I think you're about to say the F word, flurries, and I don't want to hear it.
Well, I've got them at a few different spots in the 5-day forecast, so maybe now is the time to put in the earplugs or hey, don't turn the TV off, but maybe. Vernal equinox, yes, spring is coming. It felt like it today, and tomorrow it'll feel maybe like it's not exactly here. It comes in, our vernal equinox, 5:01 a.m., okay? That's what we're looking at. We were up to 21 degrees today and still holding at a beautiful 18. 16 Chatham-Kent, Sarnia there holding at 20 degrees. The flow coming in from the southwest. Now, these are the sustained winds. We have some stronger gusts, gusting over 55 kilometers an hour. And that's the thing with this system. As the cold front approaches, we'll get those winds kicking up, remaining gusty, and then tomorrow they switch to the northwest. So it'll be a cold breeze coming in and quite blustery. So it's a pretty potent system right now, well back to the west of us. It is going to lose some of its punch for sure before it makes its way to southwestern Ontario. So that's a good thing because there's all sorts of, even some tornado warnings in here, tornado watches, severe weather, fire weather, and behind it with the cold air, a blizzard warning in place. And even in northeastern Ontario, we're talking about 20 to 30 centimeters of snow and some winter storm warnings. So nice that this thing will be weakening, but we are going to have some showers at the very least coming in. I'm going to stop this at 10 p.m. So there's one batch of rain. Could there be a few remnant thunderstorms? I'm not anticipating severe, but some kind of leftover rumbles of thunder for sure, and some lightning strikes in there. And then as the temperature falls tomorrow, look at this changeover. A few ice pellets perhaps, and then, yes, some wet flurries for a time. Could get even a little bit of a dusting before this all moves through and clears out. So 24 hours from now, things are going to be very different in terms of the weather. All the more reason to get out there and enjoy this evening. About 10 millimeters or so of rainfall anticipated. Temperatures tonight, you got to watch these because where we're going to be tomorrow morning, that temperature is going to be kind of steady and then falling once the cold front moves through and those winds change direction. So there you go for your first day of spring. It should have been today, right? And then we get into sunny conditions on Friday, but Friday night showers and the next chance for flurries. Jason, plug your ears, Sunday night.
Wow. Well, let's hope that this bounce back is as abrupt coming soon as this was going down to this cooler temperatures.
We can hope.
All right. Thanks, Colette. And that's it for us here at CBC.